Okay, I feel like this reflection in my glasses is way too distracting, so I'm gonna take them off and be blind the entire time. So, hi friends, hope you're well. I'm doing extravagant, kind of, not really. Anyway, the quarantine season has been allowing me to read quite a lot lately, so I thought I would share what I've been reading with you. I don't know if anyone really cares or not, but I just thought I would share anyway, so here we are. I read 6 books this month, which is probably the same amount, if not more, than I read in a year normally. So, I don't know how you book YouTuber people do it, where they read like 10 books in a month, and I don't think I could even do that now. So, the first book I read this month was Dandelion Wine by Ray Bradbury. The only other thing I read by Bradbury was Fahrenheit 451, I think it's called. And I read that in like middle school or high school, and I remember basically nothing about it, but I decided to read Dandelion Wine because, actually, I don't really know why, but it was on my Goodreads list, so I decided to read it, and I got it for free under the Kindle Unlimited subscription thing that I have now. Well, I have the free trial, but anyway, I loved it. I thought it was great. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's set in the summer of 1928 and in this town called Greentown, Illinois, which is basically based off of Ray Bradbury's hometown in Illinois. Pretty sure a lot of the events that happen in this book are loosely based off of his childhood experiences. This book is definitely a wholesome experience. It's a nice escape from the world right now. There are some sad things that happen, but the way that it's written about, it's really not that sad. Like, it has much more of an optimistic viewpoint than being depressing, you know? I don't think this is a spoiler, but basically the whole essence of the book is each little story that the author writes about is essentially a memory captured in dandelion wine, like a bottle of dandelion wine, if that makes sense. And it's metaphorical, obviously, but yeah. It's very summery and full of warmth and nostalgia, especially if you're from a small town. This book gave me a feeling that I never really got from a book before, and I don't know, it's very unique, and I never read anything like this. It completely encapsulates a childhood and the memories you would have from a childhood, where like the worst things that would happen to you as a child is like you run out of popsicles, or you know what I mean, like things like that, like you can't have a pair of shoes that you really want. It just captures the simplicity and happiness and joy of a summer when you're a kid, and fireflies. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's great. I really liked it. The next book that I read, am I recording? Yes, I am. The next book that I read was Teaching a Stone to Talk by Anne Dillard. And basically what this book is an anthology of short stories by the author, and I think I gave this a 3 out of 5. It might have been a 4 out of 5 stars. The first short story in the book is absolutely incredible. It belongs in a museum. It is one of the best things I've ever read in my entire life. I'm not even joking. It shook me, I guess you would say. It was incredible, and it's beautifully written, and it was so good. That being said, I was kind of disappointed with the rest of the book. I don't think that short story should have started the book, because I think if it would have been somewhere in the middle, maybe I would have felt differently about the entire series, if that makes sense, because that, in my opinion, that first chapter, that first story was the best out of the entire book. Now, the rest of the short stories are pretty good, but I don't know, just that first one is so incredible that I don't even think it should even be in any other short sort of like anthology. Like, it should be its own story, and I'm just sad that there isn't any other continuation of that, because I loved it so much. The next book that I read was The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. Oh, this book destroyed me. Basically, it's about this family whose father puts out an invite to invite the devil into the town so he can talk with him or it. And basically this 13-year-old boy shows up in the town, and the family's son finds him. He brings him home, and basically nobody really believes he's the devil, but some things happen. It's definitely one of my favorite books. I will give it that. It is. I really liked this writing style, and it just had such a unique storyline. It was a good book, but it's very sad. There isn't a lot of happy things that happen, so it's just one of those things where you're waiting for something good to happen, but you don't get much payoff, if you know what I mean. Like, it's a good book, but it's not really a fun read. You know, it's one of those books where you might like it, but you're gonna be suffering while you read it. So, the next book I read was Call Me By Your Name by Andre Osman. That was really wrong, I can tell. I'm sorry, but I tried my best. This became pretty popular because it was made into a movie and it was on Netflix over the past year or so. I never watched the movie prior to reading this book. Basically, if you don't know, this book is a romance novel set into the 1980s in Italy. It's about a teenage boy whose family takes in a doctoral student every summer as a house guest and lets them stay with them as long as they work with their dad, who is a professor. Yeah. So, as you could probably guess, one of those house guests becomes friends with the son of the family, and a romance ensues. Normally, I don't really like romance novels, especially if they involve teenagers, because they just are very boring to me, but this was a lot different than what I really expected. I don't follow a lot of book YouTubers here on YouTube, but one that I do follow is Noelle Gallagher, and she raves about this book, so she's pretty much the only reason why I decided to read it, and I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely would read it again. I read this book in 2 days, which is very, very fast for me. The writing style is awesome. I love it. It's very pretty, and just it flows so well that you can read it really fast and you don't even realize how long you've been reading, if you know what I mean. And I just like how honest it is about like intimacy and just adolescence in general, and just, yeah, I don't really know how to explain it. After I read it, I was trying to decide if I wanted to watch the movie or not, because I'm always scared to watch the movies that are made after books because we're normally let down for the most part. So basically what I did is I looked up a couple scenes on YouTube from the movie, and I'm definitely not going to be watching the movie in full because I think I will be disappointed, even though I will say from the scenes that I did watch, it looks very beautifully directed, and I could tell if I never read the book I would probably adore the movie. However, there's a few iconic scenes that take place in the book that basically, to me, make the book so unique and different that since they're not included into the movie, I just am never going to watch the movie. That being said, I understand completely why they aren't shown in the movie, because they're pretty sexual, and the movie's already rated R, I'm pretty sure, and just even including those scenes would just straight up make it a porno, so you can't really include that sort of stuff. So I understand, but I'm just saying, you're gonna be missing a lot if you only watch the movie and don't read the book, in my opinion. So, yeah. The next book that I read was a poetry book. It's called Magic with the Skin On by Morgan Nicola Wren. I never read modern poetry books anymore because I think a lot of them copy the trend of Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, where like you don't necessarily say anything that is all that poetic or metaphorical or deep, and you just basically make enters in your lines so it looks like it's a poem, but it's not really a poem. So many people do that now, and it just makes me want to die. No offense. Basically, this book is about heartbreak and romance. It's written in like different sections, and between like each poetry section, I think is like a section of prose. And personally, the poems I did not like that much. It was better than Milk and Honey, don't get me wrong, but not by much. I almost didn't read this book because I felt like I just wasn't gonna like it, because like I said, I just don't like modern romance or modern poetry that much, because it just follows the trends most of the time, which I get, because that's how society has always been. But anyway, I don't know, the poetry, I didn't really take anything away from it. However, there was only a couple prose sections in the book, and those sections were really great. I actually enjoyed them a lot. If this author wrote a book, I would read it and probably enjoy it, because I really liked those writing sections. So, yeah. The only reason why I decided to actually read this book is because I have that Kindle Unlimited free trial, and this was included. So next, and basically the most recent book that I read was An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. I was so disappointed with this book. It's about this girl who stumbles across a sculpture in the middle of Manhattan, and basically she finds something so significant she doesn't realize it's significant, and she sort of becomes a social media star, and they try to go and find like the meaning behind it all, and it's much more complex than that, but it has such an awesome storyline and plotline, but the writing is just awful. I hated reading it. I had to force myself to finish it because like I wanted to know what happened. But God, the writing just sucked so bad. I'm sorry, Hank Green, but it was so bad. It was just so like descriptive of the wrong things. Like, for example, I have my laptop sitting here and I needed to move it to put my phone down. Hank Green would be like, oh, I had to move my laptop over here to the right side of me so I could put my phone down so I could read this tweet that said blah 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 blah. And it's just like, did you really need to say that you needed to move your laptop off the table? And like, I understand books that are excessively descriptive as long as they are beautifully descriptive, but this was just dumb. I'm sorry. It's just, there's so many pages. There was like 450 pages or something. And it was just, it could have been 100 pages less easily and would have been a better story. Maybe that's a little brutal. I'm sorry, but it's my opinion. There is another book coming out, a sequel, which I will probably just read the summary of because I want to know what happens, because it's a bit of a cliffhanger at the end. But like, God, I just don't think I can sit through another book of his. I'm so sorry, Hank, my dude, but I did not enjoy reading it. It was not a good time. Anyway, the last book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, and I haven't finished this book yet, and I don't really know if I'm going to finish it anytime soon, which is why I'm still putting it in this video, because so far I don't really understand the hype. I'm only like a quarter of the way into it, so definitely a lot more can happen in order to form my opinion on this book, but so far it just, I don't know, it just has been telling me things I kind of already knew. I haven't come across anything that was really all that profound or life-changing or anything like that. But I don't know, I always wanted to read this because there has been so much hype surrounding it, but I was also sort of apprehensive because there's so many self-help books that just have to have a swear word in the title for them to seem really modern and cool and hip. But I'm pretty sure this is the book that started all of that, so I don't know. Anyway, I think I definitely will finish it at some point. It's just right now I'm looking for more of a fun escape rather than a self-help book, and so I'll probably just keep reading this in like sections. And yeah, that's what I read in April. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I don't know if anyone really even cares about what I've been reading, but that was it. That was it. I really enjoy reading, so maybe I'll do another one of these videos in the future if everyone doesn't hate it. We'll see. I don't normally read that much, so no promises. I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you're staying safe and sane in quarantine, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, Girl Scout. Gonna put my glasses back on so I can see. Oh, thank God I'm still recording. Okay, bye.